Welcome to Talking Black and Blue, where the rivalries run deep and every Sunday is a battle. I'm your man, Will McCann, and along with my partner, Tellis Everett, we're a couple of fans from the heart of the Midwest, bringing you real talk from the Black and Blue division, the NFC North. Switch it up a little bit there. Not on purpose, though. So whether you wear green and gold, Honolulu blue, purple and gold, or you rep the monsters of the Midway, you are in the right place. So lace up, strap in, and let's talk black and blue. Tell us, my man, what is up?
What's going on, friends and kinfolk? We appreciate you supporting the Black and Blue podcast. Tell all your football friends how much fun we have over here. Hey, listen, Will and I, we do real estate in the state of Michigan. Today we're a little bit casual because we're stuck at home, but we're going to get this podcast off.
Yeah.
Listen, if you need help buying, selling, or investing, hit us up for our winning game plan in real estate. Let's talk NFC North, baby.
Hey, man, we had there were some great games last week. The thing I was going to give you a hard time about last week, well, you were 1-2 last week. Your man was 3-0. That takes me to 29-15 on the season. And you are at 25-19. Same numbers, different order. So okay. 4 games ahead, heading into the last 4 weeks of the season. Still a chance to catch up. We both had Green Bay over Chicago, and Green Bay ended up winning that game. You had Washington over Minnesota, and JJ found a way to get it together and win that game. And the one I was going to give you a hard time about, bro, you called the Cowboys trash. You got all on Green Bay for losing to the Cowboys. Then you turned around and picked them to beat your Detroit Lions. What was up with that, my man?
Right.
The Cowboys end up coming up short, and the Lions end up getting that victory. Big victory for the Lions to save their season, right? And give them an opportunity here down the stretch. So what were your thoughts on the games last week?
Just that Green Bay, they took the lead in the NFC North. A solid game. You had Jordan Love looking like an MVP quarterback for one game. And then the Lions getting that victory. They bombed Dallas, but the Lions need that victory to stay in the playoff hunt, right?
They did.
Bears go from first place to 7th place in the conference.
Yeah.
They just couldn't contain Jordan Love, right? Yeah. So those are my thoughts, man. And Green Bay is Green Bay is going to be my top team for this week. The team that I'm most impressed by. They did a great job. I mean, that was a great game. It was a NFC North rivalry game.
That was.
But it turned out not to be a Will McCann
I thought it was. It actually was. I knew you were going to go there. They got too many points for Will, right?
Right. Scored way too many points for Will McCann. But it was a great game.
That intensity, like you said, man, it was a great division game. The intensity of the game, it's outside, it's cold. Both teams were hitting out there, man. That was a good football. That was a fun game to watch.
It was.
I thoroughly enjoyed it. That is NFL football right there. It comes down to the end. Who's going to make a play? And it ended up being Jordan Love and the Packers. Hats off, though, to the Bears, man, for the way they fought back and the way they played in the second half. They are doing a lot better defensively. I've been giving love to C.J. Gardner-Johnson since he joined the team. He got the big pick, and then he followed Christian Watson into the end zone on that one play where he just couldn't catch up with my man. But C.J.'s been playing well since he joined the Bears. I thought they had a solid game. It was the run game of the Packers that won that game for them. But for me, man, my game of the week or my team of the week in the division is J.J. McCarthy and the Minnesota Vikings, man. For them to get a shutout in an NFL game, man, is just crazy, right?
Yeah.
Washington had a couple of opportunities early, But that Brian Flores defense, man, you cannot throw tunnel screens against Andrew Van Ginkel. All right.
Right.
He is
Right.
picking that stuff off, right? You
Yeah.
cannot do that against him. For them to come up the way they did, I understand why you picked Washington in that game. It didn't look good for Minnesota. They hadn't been playing well, but like I said, I thought they'd be able to rally at home and get a victory in that game. Didn't expect a shutout, man. For them to
Right.
have played as well as they did, and Jaden Daniels did end up going out in the game, right?
Yeah, Jaden Daniels ended up going out of the game, but I also feel like the Commanders left their professional pride in DC.
It did look like one of them weeks where they didn't have it with them, right? They didn't put it
Right,
on the
right.
plane and take it with them, right? It certainly
Exactly.
did look like one of those weeks for them.
Yeah, they flew in
Uh,
a little light.
but if they go down, the game turned on that. Them not taking points early, them getting down first and goal on the one, and for Minnesota to come away without giving them any points at all, for them to go for it on fourth down and miss, and it was a drop by Debo that cost them. If they get a score there and they're up 7-0, the game turns. The game starts to look a little different, right? But yeah, my hat's off to Minnesota. Kevin O'Connell being able to get his team together and they go out and get a big win.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so you know, as we turn forward and start to look to week 15, there's only 4 games left for everybody. All buys are done. Now the buys have been over in our division for quite some time, since all the way back to week 9. But everybody has 4 games left, and the truth is, man, these are playoff games from here
Right.
on in, right? They're
Yep.
not elimination games, right? But they are playoff games from here to the end of the season, because these games determine whether or not you will get into the tournament, right?
That's right.
So every game has to be played with playoff intensity from here through the end of the season. So yeah, let's take a look at the teams individually as we head down the stretch, as the old announcer for the Kentucky Derby used to say, and down the stretch they come. Starting with the leaders in the division after a big home victory, the Green Bay Packers. How do you think they should feel as they enter the last part of the season?
They should be on top of they should be feeling so good right now. They're at the top of the division. Jordan Love is looking good. You got Christian Watson back. I think he heard the talk that there's never been a number one receiver.
Yeah, he got sick of that noise, right?
He got sick of that noise. And the defense is looking good. So they are rounding into what could be a number one contender coming out of the NFC, coming out of the conference. They should have confidence. They should feel relieved that they're scoring points and it's looking good and the big plays are happening. And like you said earlier, Jacobs is toting that ball. So, it's coming together for Green Bay. It took a while,
Mm-hmm.
but man, they just looked really good in a very competitive game,
Yeah,
right? Because
yeah,
Chicago didn't lay down,
not at
so
all.
it went from bell to bell,
Yeah,
and it was a competitive game. They didn't falter, and they looked like a competitive team, like a team that could get it to the Super Bowl. So they should feel really good. And Jordan Love, man, 3 touchdowns. Come on, man.
yeah.
He was effective against the blitz. I think he was like 8 out of 11 on the blitzes, and 2 of the 3 touchdowns came off a blitz. So
Yeah,
he was cutting them up, man. So again, if you're in Green Bay, you're a fan, the organization, you should feel good going into these last 4 games of the season.
yeah, I agree, man. I think they're playing well. I think they agree with you that they're starting to round into the team I thought they'd be coming into the season. I mean, it's a long season, man.
Right.
There will be times during the season, like I said, it's hard to get up 18 times, right? for all of these big games all season
Hmm.
long, right? And it takes time for people to get their footing and to figure out what works for you and what doesn't. People start getting hurt and they're going in and out of the lineup. And as people go in and out of the lineup, what can we hang our hat on, right? What do we do well? How can we continue to accentuate those things and continue to get better at those? And I think the Packers are starting to do that offensively and defensively. And Jordan Love, he seems to play better at the end of seasons, right?
Hmm.
If you look at the 3 seasons that he's been a starter, as the season has gone on, his performances have gotten better. I think
So
that 4 weeks in a row now he hasn't turned the ball over. Go ahead, you can say
I was
something.
going to say, so you buy into the Toyotathon?
Um,
Have you heard about this?
no, tell me about that.
Once Toyotathon starts, Jordan Love plays better.
I had not heard that. That is hilarious.
Oh, man.
You heard me say it without saying it, though, right?
Right, right. Yep. You were saying it.
Yes. Yes, man. He's waiting on it. He needs the sale, man. He
Right.
needs to hear that. When he hears that, he knows that, hey, it's time for me to turn it
It's
up
game
now.
time, right? It's game time.
That is too funny. And usually it is, let's get the run game going, and that will help our pass game. But it actually, for them, has been, as Jordan Love has played better, their run game has gotten better.
That's
And their offensive
exactly
line is starting to play better.
that's exactly what I was talking about earlier in the season. It's like they need that passing game to be effective,
Mhm.
which is odd, but they need Jordan
Right,
Love to be
right.
effective, right? So, but it's coming together for him.
Yeah, yeah. And defensively, man, they've been pretty consistent defensively.
Yep.
They're still number 5, number 6 in scoring, number 5 in total defense. Uh,
Hmm.
they still are a threat with their pass rush, right? They can get after the quarterback. So, and this time of year, affecting the quarterback, especially these outdoor games,
Right.
affecting the quarterback is important because precision in the passing game in these cold weather games is not as good as it is when you play in domes on the West Coast and in warm weather sites. So, yeah, that will be important for them as they begin to head down the stretch here.
Yeah, and that defense, and I didn't look at the pressure numbers on Caleb, but
Hmm.
it's really hard to get pressure on that young man because he's gonna bail and start moving around with his feet and that type of
And
thing.
he's hard to tackle, too,
And
man.
and he's hard
He's
to
hard to
tackle.
tackle.
So, but they had him on the move, right? They had him on the move. So yeah, the defense is doing what they need to do. That offense is coming around. You got Christian Watson back. They look like they can do it all. So
Yeah.
definitely on the right track there.
All right, let's turn and talk about the second place team. A team who's currently still in the wild card race, the Chicago Bears. How do you think they should feel as they head to these last 4 games?
Look, I know the Chicago Bears. You went from first to seventh, but you were competitive in this game up
Yeah,
until the very end, right? So when I look at Chicago, all I have to say is that you are ahead of schedule. You have a first year coach, a whole new staff, coaching staff,
yep,
right?
yep,
And essentially you have, we call him a rookie quarterback because that first year
right,
was just
right,
that wasn't a good year for him
right.
in the situation that it was in. But
Yeah,
you, even if you say you just have a second year quarterback, he's
yeah,
learning a new system. So
yes.
Chicago Bears, you're ahead of the curve. You're 2026. No matter what happens in 2025, your 2026 looked good. That being said, your defense needs some help.
Hey, I hear you. I'm going to take a step back real quick and say something I didn't say about the Packers as
Yeah.
they come down the stretch. One of the concerns about them is 3 of their last 4 games are on the road, right?
Yes.
They're going to Denver this week, and then they go back to Chicago to play them again next week. Home against Baltimore. Who knows how the Ravens will be playing by then? And then they finish the season with a division game against Minnesota. And how many times in this league have we seen a division team with nothing to play for play a division rival and decide, hey, if we ain't going to the playoffs, they're not either. And we see a
Right.
team who has not even sniff the playoffs, take down a team who has everything to play for. So yeah, it'll be interesting for the Packers as we go down the stretch. And the reason I went back to that is because the Bears,
The Bears.
looking at their game this week, they have a fortunate schedule because they get back-to-back home games as we
Hmm.
finish the season, and they will play 3 of their last 4 games at home.
Yeah.
So they have a favorable schedule as they go down the stretch here. So yeah, I think they ought to be excited about their team as they head down the stretch here. Like you said about their defense, you know, they still have some concerns stopping the run.
Yep.
You can get your run game going against them. They do have issues, but they still turn the ball over, man. You know, we talk about is it sustainable? And I talk about CJ. The guy has led the league in interceptions. Led the league one year. I think he finished second another year, right? He is always around the football.
Yeah.
So I think it may not be uh, it can't be your staple, the staple of your defense. But if they can try to solidify the run game, where they had a few weeks where they had played well against the run, I still think they can be effective going down the stretch. But yeah, they've got some concerns in their run defense. But
Not
Caleb,
only,
go ahead.
I was going to say, not only in the run defense, but there's a lack of consistency in the pass rush too.
Yeah.
I mean, it if you look at some of the analyst reports, is they either have 3 to 10 pressures on Jordan Love.
Mm.
I mean, hey, that's you got to do better.
That's not affecting the quarterback. Yeah,
That's not
I
affecting the
agree. That's
quarterback,
not
right?
affecting the quarterback at all.
Yeah, so you have to do better in that standpoint. And if your front five on your defense is doing well, that takes the pressure off of your cornerbacks and the
Yeah.
back end and your safeties, right? So you get, like you're saying, the run defense, the pass defense, this all needs to get better for them,
Mhm.
especially when you can't get the takeaways. They have one takeaway in this game,
Right.
but that wasn't enough.
And the
They
right.
need 2 to 3,
Yeah.
but they were still competitive,
Yeah.
right? And then the offense is looking really good, and the offensive line is doing what they need to do. The left is a little suspect, but they're doing what they need to do. The one thing I would say, the one thing that I would critique is with the QB. The QB he is 33rd of 34 eligible quarterbacks in percentage. So yeah, he needs to get better at the accuracy. There were some passes that were just guys were wide open. He was just missing,
Mhm.
but he still has the talent to put it in a short or a small window.
Yeah.
If you need to, he can put it in there. So yeah, I'm not concerned about Chicago. Like you said, they got the 3 of their last 4 is going to be at home. They should be able to put together a couple of wins there. And no matter how it falls out, if you're in the playoffs or not, 2026 for the Chicago Bears is going to be a great year.
Yeah, I agree. About Caleb. You know, we like you said, we still talk about him as being a rookie quarterback, even though he isn't.
Yeah,
Right. Um,
he's going to get better.
Pat Kerwin, Jim Miller always say they don't evaluate a quarterback until he's played at least 20 games. And Pat always say, I don't give you games off either. It's, because Jim Miller was saying, I throw away 2024. Pat Kerwin says, I don't. He played those games.
Right, right, right.
And things that I think are positive about him, he doesn't get hurt. He's got the body type. He can run around. I'm concerned about JJ. I'm concerned about guys like Jaden Daniels. They don't have the body to be out there running around.
Yeah, right.
Caleb is hard to tackle. He doesn't have that Lamar Jackson's speed and quick twitch and athleticism, but the guy is hard to tackle. He can throw on the move to his right. What happened on that last play is Green Bay flushed him to his left.
It was
He
left.
didn't get enough on the throw, and that got picked. But I think he'll start to, with JT Barrett. I wanted to give JT Barrett some love a few weeks ago. I couldn't remember his name. It just totally got away from me. But JT was the assistant QB coach for the Lions when Ben Johnson was the OC here, and he took
Yeah.
JT with him to
Yeah.
Chicago. He's the QB coach working with Caleb, and I
Yeah.
think we'll continue to see Caleb get better. And like you said, in 2026, depending on what they do with their some of their defensive free agency issues, yeah, I would think they will go into 2026 on a very positive note. I'll just say that.
Right.
We'll see.
Definitely, definitely. One of the things that it just kind of hit me when you're talking about Caleb and how he moves around and he's hard to tackle. I'm gonna do some research on this, but when you said that, it made me think of Russell Wilson.
Yeah,
Early
yeah, yeah,
Russell
yeah,
Wilson
yeah, yeah.
moving in the pocket and then just the ability to throw these accurate bombs down the field,
The moon
big
balls down
plays.
the field.
Yeah, yeah. He reminds me of him a little bit. So I'm gonna look
Yeah.
into some numbers and see what that is. And but the two the this year and last year, he's on par with Josh Allen when Josh Allen's first 2 years.
Mm-hmm,
So
mm-hmm.
just complete completion rates and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
And he kind of reminds you of a little Josh Allen, maybe a little bit smaller,
Mm-hmm,
right?
mm-hmm.
But definitely, I think I'm intrigued by the Russell Wilson comparison. So I'm gonna
Yeah.
dig into that one.
Yeah, and I actually was going to make that comparison when I was talking about Jordan Love because he makes me nervous with his jumping off his back foot and throwing those moon balls. But he's been nailing them boys, man. It's like when he throws it, it's like, what, Jordan? What is? Oh, that's a touchdown. That's what that is.
That's a
And
Patrick Mahomes stuff right there, though.
Caleb has some of that too, where he's running around. It's like, man, you had to. Okay, all right. I see that dime he throws down the field, and I think some of his issues with his accuracy is his fundamentals, right? And I
Right.
think as they continue to work with him on his fundamentals, I think he'll get more accurate with his passes because he
Yeah.
has the arm talent to get it there.
Or he can just develop. He can work with the whatever trainer that Mahomes works with and get him throwing off of those weird angles. Like if you're going to throw from this angle, let's work on it, make it more accurate.
See, I don't like changing guys' throwing motions because I think that's what gets them in trouble.
Yeah,
The
and that's what
reason
I'm saying.
Mahomes and Matthew Stafford can do that is because they grew up playing baseball. So
Right,
odd arm angles are not difficult for them. That's not foreign to them. They are used to throwing the ball like that, and they can throw it accurately. That's why, as young people, young guys, we got any young people out there or parents out there with young boys, multiple sports. Don't have them focusing on one sport so early. They shouldn't focus on one sport until they get to college.
right.
Until then, play as many sports as possible because the skills are transferable. I'm going to tell you, I will get to it in a minute about the Lions. The Lions had a play where I know they don't have anybody on their team who ever played baseball. But that's the thing with the arm angles. I'd cautious with having guys change their arm
Well,
angles.
I wasn't so much talking about arm angles, just your body position. So if you are for in this instance, we're talking about that last pass that Caleb had, and he was
Mm-hmm.
flushed to the left. If we're
Mm-hmm.
moving to the left and we're going to throw a ball 20 yards or 30 yards, let's get you in that position
Yeah, yeah,
where you're moving and you're doing that on a regular basis so that it becomes routine
got
in
you.
that
Yeah,
moment,
yeah. And
right?
I agree with that.
That's kind of what I was
Yeah,
talking about.
yeah, I
But the
agree.
other thing is that you mentioned playing multiple sports and playing baseball and multiple sports. Well, in countries where soccer is the
Yeah,
number one
yeah.
right sport, these kids never throw a ball. So when they go when they go to throw a ball when they're adults, it does not look good.
Not at all. But you know what? The footwork on those guys is crazy, right?
Right.
That was
Exactly.
what
That's the trade-off, right?
the basketball coach at the University of Houston saw Hakeem Olajuwon playing goalie in soccer and went, man, that dude can dunk a basketball, I bet.
Right.
Got him on the court and the rest is history, right? But so,
That's right.
yeah, even and it doesn't matter the sport. Get your children playing multiple sports. The skills are
Exactly.
always transferable.
That's right.
Let's move on and talk about the third place team in the division, the Detroit Lions. How do you think they ought to feel as they head down the stretch here in their season?
Look, the Lions, you're still in this, right? And as long as you have your mascot, Amon-Ra St. Brown, you're in this playoff hunt, right? So with Amon
What?
coming,
Did you reduce my man to the mascot, bro?
look, my man came back. Yeah, 6 catches for 92 yards on 9 targets. The ankle was looking good. The little known hand thumb injury that he has suffered
Right, right.
got some rest that time he was off. So he was able to catch those balls that he had been missing the last couple of weeks, right? Before
Okay.
the ankle injury.
Uh,
So there wasn't a lot of information out there on there, but he had an issue with his thumb hand. So
okay, that he hadn't
uh,
said anything
yeah,
about.
that
Okay.
got rested up. But the
Yeah.
thing is that I joke about saying he's a mascot, but he plays 92% of your snaps on
Yes, he does.
offense.
For
So
yeah,
even if he's not the target, the defenses have to focus on what he's doing.
you've got
And
to account for him. Yeah,
they may not run two people at him. They may be a single coverage or it might be zone, but everybody's watching to see what he does. So that opens up your offense.
yeah, yeah.
So I joke a lot. Yeah, call him the mascot, but you need that guy on the field. You need that guy on the field.
Yeah, yeah. I think their last four games, they're at LA this week, home against Pittsburgh, at Minnesota. I'm sorry, home against Minnesota, and then at Chicago to finish. I take that back. They're at Minnesota, at Chicago to
Yeah,
finish the season. So they, like Green Bay, have three of their last four games on the road. They're going to have some difficulty down the stretch here.
right,
You know, we talked a couple of weeks ago about how they control their own destiny. Winning here is everything for everybody, right? Keep
right,
winning and you're okay. And they have a game against Chicago, who's ahead of them. So they control their destiny that way.
right,
Um, Green Bay is in first place. They keep winning. You know, they're the lead team in the conference.
right.
So Detroit
And Philly keeps losing.
and Philly, man, they go Philly. Talk about a Jekyll and Hyde team, right? But everybody else in their division is so far behind. They still are going to win their division, right?
Right, right,
So this will be a big game for the Lions this week against the Rams. The Lions have already lost. Well, their two division games are conference games, and they lost to Philly, right? So
right,
they can't afford to lose another conference game. So this will be a big game for them going on the road. If they lose this game, they are going to need so much help to get into the
right,
playoffs.
right.
They move into spoiler
Yep.
role if they lose this game, right?
Yeah.
Or they are scoreboard watching after this game. So they've got some concerns. Their offensive line played so much better in the Dallas game than they had been playing. You didn't hear Quentin Williams' name at all. You know, it was possible he could wreck that game, and I think that's what a lot of people thought we saw coming into that game,
Right,
right?
right,
Because Dallas's interior defense had been playing so well, and the Lions' interior offensive line hadn't been. But, you know, like I said, that professional pride we talk about, and just Dan Campbell knowing how to rally his team, like he said after the game, they forgot who we are.
the Lions look good in that game. The only problem with the Lions that I see going forward, besides the defense and the injuries that you have on the defensive end, is that offensively you got to get more consistent, eliminating the penalties, You have to eliminate the mental errors because if you want to get into this playoff, those things you can't put yourself behind the eight ball on
Right.
the field with mental mistakes and errors, right? So you got to eliminate the penalties, and those guys have to be locked in. The play calling offensively at times seems a little vanilla, and I don't know if they're trying to set up larger plays or big plays down the line, but it's not looking as consistent as it needs to look with as far as the play calling goes as well. But that defense, man, I don't know what you do with Brian Branches out for the rest of the season.
Yeah,
It
Branch might not
doesn't,
even he might not even play next season, man. As late as this
yeah.
injury is.
I don't know that you're getting Kirby Joseph or Terrion Arnold back this year. I mean, it's just very questionable what's going on over there.
Yeah,
So you really need your offense to show up and just be hitting all cylinders. And like I said earlier, just eliminate the mental errors and the mental mistakes and just play ball, right? So,
yeah, I agree. I think a lot of that comes with the injuries and shuffling guys in and out of the lineup.
yeah,
Um, Knowing guys are not coming back, you have to figure out what is our lineup going to be. What's our best lineup? What are our best plays? I thought I liked them getting Isaac Tesla more
hmm,
involved. I think they're probably gonna go more to three receiver sets without Laporta.
yeah,
Um, that will help them. I think they may even get into some of those formations where um, Tesla is the move tight end,
yeah,
if you will. I
yeah,
think you may see more of that because the young man has great hands, right? He still may be
yeah,
figuring out, options and routes. But if you throw the ball up to him, he does catch the ball and he makes contested catches. So I
yeah.
think
And
you might try
he,
to see them trying to get him more involved down the stretch.
right, right. And he actually played 77% of the snaps on offense last week. So to your point, they are getting them more involved and using him in that kind of that tight end area. He's a smallish tight end, but
Yeah,
like I said, he can catch the ball and he's got that Detroit mentality where he's gonna do everything that it needs to be done.
the
If
young
you need
man's
me
a
to,
dog.
if you need me
Young
to go
man's a
block, I'm gonna
dog.
go block, right? If you need me to crash down us, I'll do that. But he can
Yeah.
catch the ball.
Yeah,
So
he plays
getting
special
him more
teams, right? He's a
involved,
gunner on special teams, so he's
yeah,
tough, right?
exactly, exactly. So getting him more involved, definitely. And you got Jameson. He's coming around this season. He's having a really nice season. So you have weapons with Jameer and you have Montgomery. Just just offensively at the start at the line of scrimmage, you got to make sure that those guys are locked in and they're not false starting or jumping off sides or just mentally
Yeah.
take care of that stuff so you give yourself the best chance going forward because you need your offense to put up 40 points or more.
Yeah, and I agree. I agree. And then moving on to the Minnesota Vikings. How do you think they ought to feel as they are finishing out the season here?
Minnesota, man, look, I know everybody's excited about the three touchdowns that McCarthy was able to get done last week. But that defense is really carrying your team,
Yeah,
right? You had three takeaways. Two of your takeaways actually converted to points. So you got 10 points off of the two takeaways. And that third one let you run out the game,
yeah,
right? So
yeah,
let's not lose track of the fact that your defense is what's really keeping you around. And that's the important part of what's happening in Minnesota. JJ throwing three touchdowns. Look, I watched this game. And we joked about it a little bit earlier that if if the Commanders had brought their professional pride, they could have had at least two interceptions,
yeah,
right?
yeah. Yeah,
In this game would look a little bit different. And you, if I'm in Minnesota, I'm not comfortable.
mm,
I'm still not comfortable because Justin Jefferson only had 11 yards on maybe what, two or three targets.
yeah, yeah.
So, you know, it,
Yeah, there's still a lot of growth on the front from the young man, right? What is
yeah,
it, his seventh, eighth start? So he's got a long way to go. What I liked about them as a team, you talked about Jefferson. You're right. Jefferson didn't get a lot of targets, but I saw him blocking with his chest out there in the run game.
yeah, yeah,
A young quarterback's best friend is always the run game and a tight end, and all three of his touchdowns were to the tight ends, right?
yep, yep,
So as he is, and he's at that stage, I think, where he doesn't see a guy coming open. So if he doesn't anticipate a guy coming open, right? If he doesn't see the guy open, he doesn't throw him the ball. Where some guys, these receivers in this league, give me another step or put the ball in a location, I will come open, right? If you
yeah,
anticipate the
yeah.
play correctly. And he's not there yet. You can see he's still a step slow, a tad slow with that, which is why he's getting the ball to backs and tight ends.
Right. And
But that's
he,
part of a young man's development. Throw the ball to the backs and tight ends and run.
right.
Keep using the skills you have to keep developing. Um, I'm okay with where he is right now. He's still developing. He ain't there yet. I think it's way too early to say he's not the man. And of course, he hadn't done anything that shows you. I won't say he hadn't done anything. He hadn't done enough to show you that he is the man. So yeah,
Right.
jury's still out. The jury still should still be
Yeah.
out.
And
Uh,
like you're saying, he's developing. And when you watch that game, you can tell that he's predetermined who he's throwing the ball to because he just looks at that one individual. He doesn't look him off or anything like that. So that's why I was joking about if the Commanders had came ready to play, they could have picked off some of those balls because he's looking directly from the beginning of the snap. He's looking directly at the receiver he wants to throw the ball to. Right. So, and there were multiple instances where that happened. So, to your point, he's still
mhm.
developing. He's shown some very high peaks, right?
Yeah.
As far as being able to manage the game, use his feet, and he did again in this
Hmm.
game.
Yep.
Use his feet and get the ball out at a nice pace,
Right.
but there's still some development that needs to happen there. And I would
He's
love,
still got a long way to go, right?
yeah, and I would love to see them actually. When I say them, I would love to see the Vikings offense actually use running plays, call running plays specifically for him.
Hmm.
I would love to see that. And also, I'd love to see more play action because one of the things that Chicago, we didn't talk about this, but one of the things Chicago does is they're running play action about 60% of the time for Caleb because
Yeah.
they know if we get this guy moving, he feels more comfortable and he
Right.
can do
Right.
what he needs to do. So I'd love to see Minnesota use more play action and also use his legs in a more consistent, organized way versus him
Mhm.
just bailing and picking up some yards. But that all goes to the development of the young man himself, right?
Yeah. 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 And some of that, I think, is with our offensive line also. And some of it, I don't even think they have in their offense. And I agree with you. That's
Yeah.
probably an element they should add to their offense. Um, when they had uh, Joshua Dobbs playing
Hmm.
quarterback. They did have some runs when he played quarterback. He showed up on a Tuesday and won games for him, right? So yeah, I
It,
would like to see some of that. Again, my concern with him is his body, man. I don't know those running plays. I'm okay with you, and I agree with you. They are a threat because it's hard to account for a running quarterback, right?
right, right.
My concern is he won't go and get the 5 yards and get down. He'll try to get the seven and get himself hurt, right?
Yeah, and
That's my
maybe they are
concern
trying
with
to
him.
protect him, but we joked about this
Protect him from
before.
himself, right?
Yeah, protect him from himself and keep him healthy. But we joked about this before. When you bring out Josh Dobbs,
I didn't mean to
again,
do that, Vikings fans. I didn't mean to give him that opportunity.
right? If his name was J.J. Johnson,
Those runs would already be there,
the
right?
runs would already be there. That's all I'm saying. Johnson, Jackson, J.J. White,
Brown,
Brown,
Washington.
Washington, J.J. Green.
We're just saying, right?
We're just saying. And, hey, equal opportunities out here. We want the quarterback playing field to be equal opportunity both ways.
Hey, I hear you, bro. I hear you. Hey, they've got a couple of tough games coming up because they've got to go on the road.
Yeah,
And it's those NFC North teams. They go to Dallas and then to New York. Dallas is that, we talk about up down. I expect Dallas to come in on an up this week. So that ain't good news for Minnesota. Then the following week, I never like a team playing back to back games on the road. I never liked that second game. To me,
right.
that was always hard to win, even though it is the Giants, right? Unless the Giants decide to pack it in, and they got too many people who are looking for jobs next year. So there,
That's right.
nobody over there is packing anything in.
That's
And then
right.
they finish with a couple of division games against the Lions and Packers. Um, they could go, they could finish the season without another victory, right?
Yeah,
It is possible.
it's
But I
possible.
expect the Lions and the Packers game, especially because they're both at home, I expect them to win one of those games.
Yeah, yeah, it's possible.
All right, so let's turn and look to the games to week 15, my man. And I didn't do anything that I said I was going to do as we prepare for these games here. But um, let's start with the 1 o'clock game Sunday. The Chicago Bears at home taking on Shador Sanders and the Cleveland Browns.
So the Bears are favored by 7.5. The over under is 40. I have the Browns 10, Bears 24. Look, the Bears defense, especially against the pass and the run, is expected to put pressure on Shador. And then they struggle in the defense. They struggle in the red zone. So
Mm,
yeah, I this should be for the Bears. This should be a game where they just come out there, they take care of business. You're playing against a rookie quarterback. Rely on look. You can take Shador out of the game by if you're Chicago, rely on your running game.
mm.
Tote the ball. That's your advantage right there. That offensive line against a depleted Bears defense, just run the ball,
Yeah.
right? Just take care of the ball. And whatever Shador does. And I love Shador. I think Shador is great for the NFL, and I want the young man to succeed. Um, but that's a whole nother issue. But the
Right, right.
Bears go take care of business.
Yeah, I expect the Bears to win this game also. Even though the Cleveland Browns and their defense, and they bring their defense wherever they go, right? They
Yeah,
travel with their defense. Problem is, they don't have much more than that. Shador has given them some stability at quarterback the last couple of weeks, and he is continuing to develop. And like I said, Kevin Stefanski, he's a good coach. He's been able to, a lot like Kevin O'Connell. In fact, he came from O'Connell's staff, if I'm not mistaken. He's been able to get quarterbacks, show up midweek and get them through games, right? Or to help quarterbacks manage games.
yeah,
So I had a feeling he'd be able to accentuate Shador's skills that he has, accentuate the positive skills that he has, and try to take advantage of that to get them through a game. I think this could be a tough game for him because it's on the road, it's going to be cold, it's in the elements. But I see the Chicago 27, Cleveland 17.
okay.
All right, and let's look at the Sunday night football game. We were talking about earlier the Minnesota Vikings traveling to Big D to take on the Dallas Cowboys.
All right, Dallas is favored by 5.5. The over/under is 47.5. I have it Vikings 13, Cowboys 27. Cowboys play significantly better at home. There's an outside chance of them making the playoffs,
Yep.
right? So they have extra motivation.
Yes.
Their offense, yeah. Dak Prescott, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
The defense is coming around for them as well. Minnesota, you're coming off a strong defensive performance, but you're on the road. I don't trust what I saw of JJ last week. So I just see it Vikings 13, Cowboys 27.
Yeah, I see it similar. Also, like you said, the Cowboys and their offense, Dak and his ability to put points on the board, I think will score enough points against Brian Flores' defense that Minnesota won't be able to keep up. I don't see it being a high scoring game because I don't think the Vikings defense will let it get out of control. But I don't think the Vikings will be able to score enough points to threaten in this game either. So
Yeah,
I see it a little closer than you have it. But again, I see it as a game that Dallas wins, and that's Dallas 24, Minnesota 17.
nice.
All right, and then let's turn to the late Sunday game, where the Detroit Lions are traveling out west to take on the Los Angeles Rams.
Rams are favored by 5.5. The over/under is 49.5. This is going to be a tight game.
Mm-hmm.
I think the last one went overtime, right? The last time they played
That I
in
don't
LA?
recall.
In
That the last
LA?
played in LA.
Yeah, I think it
That I
went
don't
over.
recall. I know that they since the trade, I think they've only played once in LA, and then they played the playoff game.
Right.
No, you're right. They turned around and played the next year also. That I don't recall. I didn't look that up. Okay,
Yeah,
so it was
so Rams
overtime the
are
last time they played.
yeah, I think so. So the Rams are favored by 5.5. The over/under is 49.5. I have it Lions 28, Rams 26.
Mm. I'm looking at the score I wrote down, and I believe I wrote my score backwards actually. And I did. I had to have written my score backwards. Um, yeah, that was how you had the score. Go ahead and tell me your thoughts on the game.
Well, it might end up being a lot higher scoring game than that,
Mm-hmm.
but I think it's going to be a tight score. The thing that the Lions, my concern with the Lions is that the defense, and you're playing Puka Nakua and Cooper Cup.
Yeah. Well, Cup's not there anymore, but yeah.
No, Puka Nakua.
But yeah,
So they're going to have a hard time containing that young man. I mean, he's the equivalent of Amon for
yes,
them.
he is. They are the same player. To me, they are the
So
same player.
yeah, they're gonna if they can contain that, and then LA has a little bit of a running game, but I think for Detroit, if they can, Jameer Gibbs and Montgomery had a killer game the last time they played. So
Yeah.
if you can get those two going and hold on to the ball and limit the amount of times that Stafford has access to the ball. So again, it's going to be a close game. It might be a higher scoring game than the 28-26 I have, but
Mm-hmm.
I got the Lions pulling it out.
Okay. Yeah, I looked at the score I wrote, and that is the score I meant to write, but I had the score backwards.
Okay.
I see this game. The Lions going on the road outside, I think they're going to struggle. I expect them to struggle. This is a playoff game. It has to be played with playoff intensity because of what you said, though, about Puka Nakua. Puka ate their lunch the last time they
Yeah.
played the Lions, and the Lions were better defensively then. So I expect them to have a hard time containing Matthew Stafford and the Rams passing game. The Rams offensive line has been playing well. If they can start to run the ball with Williams, I think the Lions will be playing catch up a lot in the game. I agree with you. I expect it to be a close game. I expect it to be one of those games where the team that makes the fewest mistakes at the end wins, and I expect that to be the home team. And in this one, I have the Rams 34, the Lions 30.
Okay.
All right, and then we come down to the. Wait a minute, that game? That's a four. Oh, that's a 4 o'clock Sunday game. Also, the Green Bay Packers traveling to Denver, to the Mile High City to take on the Broncos. And tell me how you see that game going.
So, yeah, the Packers are favored by 2.5. The under over is 43.5. Look, I don't know how the Packers are favored.
I'm going to tell you, I was surprised when you said that. I don't look at the lines a lot. I was surprised when I heard you say that. Yeah, that shocked me.
Look, Denver is undefeated at home this year.
Yeah.
So I got the Packers 17, Broncos 20. Yeah, Jordan Love is putting it together. The defense looks healthy, but man, they go on the
I'm
road.
sorry. Give me the score again. I'm listening to you what you're saying, and I didn't write the score.
I got the Packers 17, Broncos 20.
Okay.
Right. So, like I said, Denver's undefeated at home. The Packers, when they travel on the road, do not look good. And last week we had an MVP, Jordan Love. This week you might have mediocre Jordan Love. I think it's going to be a competitive game. I just feel like, man, Denver at home and their defense is locking people down. I just see it. I don't know how they're favored by 2.5. I just don't.
When you consider that Vegas generally says the home team gets 3 points, that says that they think the Packers are 5 points better than the Broncos. And to that, I'm like, you what? Really?
Exactly.
Yeah, that was.
Games. You're not watching these games. Vegas.
But there's something about Vegas. Make a note of this. We're going to have to talk about this next week for this game in particular, because that makes me nervous, right? Because I picked Denver to win this game also, right? The fact the Packers are favored in this game, and the reason that we talk about professional gamblers who bet on sports, right? The best tell you that their winning percentage is somewhere around 58%, right?
Mm-hmm.
Not even at 60%, right? 8 points above 8 points above break even, basically, is all that is, right? But they have so much detail, right? They know the last 5 times the Packers went to Denver when they were the number 1 seed, and they know all of that, right?
Right.
And it's one of those trends out there that they know that's buried in all of this.
Yeah.
But the games are always played on the field, right?
That's right.
And I agree with you. Denver and that pass rush of theirs, they've got the best pass rush in the league. I expect them to affect Jordan Love in this game. I see some of that up down with the Packers also because they have played well so many weeks in a row. And like I said, it's hard to continually play that many games where you're playing your best. After the big emotional division game last week, knowing they've got the emotional division game on the road next week against Chicago, I think they get caught looking ahead this week, and I think Denver gets them this week too. And I see a close game also. I see Denver 24, Green Bay 20.
Nice. Yeah.
All right, so those are the games for this week, my man. Any last thoughts on you before we wrap up?
Make sure if you're in Michigan, make sure you stretch before you shovel the snow.
Guilty of stretching afterwards.
Do a little warm up before you go out there. Hey, we appreciate you
Yes.
hanging out with us. You know, Will and I love talking football, but when we're not breaking down the NFC North, we're actually helping people buy, sell, and invest in real estate. If you have questions about what your next move is, don't fumble the ball. Contact us for our winning real estate game plan. Fellas, share the pie with your buddies. Ladies, share it with your crew. Make sure you subscribe. Hit that subscribe button. And don't be a knucklehead. Drop us a 5-star rating.
Hey, we appreciate you. All the listeners, everyone who listens, we appreciate all the comments that we receive. We want to thank you for joining us, and we're looking forward to seeing you next time.
Yes, sir.